Hello everybody, my name's Steve, I'm the British Railroader, I'm at Shenfield Station here in Essex, which means it's time for the Mid-Essex Model Railway Club's Exhibition 2025. Let's go. Hello everybody, my name's Steve, I'm the British Railroader and welcome to this video from the Mid-Essex Model Railway Club's annual exhibition 2025. So yesterday I was down in Shenfield for my regular attendance at the Mid-Essex Model Railway Club's exhibition. As ever, it was a great show. I'm very much looking forward to next year, though I do understand that next year there will be a different venue for various reasons, but I will keep you updated on that as soon as I know where it's going to be. I had a lovely day. There were some great layouts there. There's one layout that I probably focused on a little bit more than normal, and this is called the Victory. It's by a guy called Oliver, who I met at the NMRA convention in Cookham, Berkshire last year. He and his brother had this small French layout there, which was superb. And he pointed out he hadn't actually built it. They bought it off someone. They had just been, adding to it. But the Victory is actually his layout. And you just wait and see. It's going to be one of those things. I'll do it as ever. It's going to be at the end of the video, so you have to watch all of the other stuff first. Obviously, big thank you to everybody at the club for organising the show. As you know, my mate Ken from John Dutfield's Model Railways is kind of like the show manager, so I saw him very, very briefly once. And Ken, if you're watching, it was lovely to see you. I'll catch up with you in the shop at some point soon. But everything was done really, really well. It was very well organised and hopefully it was quite well attended. I do know that Ken did say that there had been a problem with some of the advertising in the Model Railway magazines. So perhaps he didn't get as many attendees as I think they may have hoped. But hopefully next year we'll get the word out a little bit earlier. I certainly know that the little video that I did a week ago in Greece, where I was, showing off my very trendy attire, my friend Andy Knott, who has become a really good friend of mine, he came down just on the strength of the fact that I put the advert out. So hopefully, people like me, if we just advertise these shows on our channels, then, we can get more people there, because the more people that go, the better it is for our hobby. Anyway, enough of that. I know that you want to see the layout, so sit back, relax and enjoy. So we're starting with a little bit of Engage. So this is Bramble, which is a small country station set loosely within the West Country in the 1960s. It was based and adapted on the double O gauge Pico track plan Brendan, and Bramble was built to show what can be achieved and run in a small space. It's a lovely little layout. It's an old-fashioned roundy when you look at it. It's made using Pico's set track, which I think just shows how effective set track can be when you want to build a layout. So going from one extreme to the other, we've now got Tigly Yard, which is in O scale. And this is a village that lies between Totnes and Plymouth on the western region, close to the foothills of Dartmoor. So they're making some assumptions here about expansion of the village and, making it warranted to build a station. But basically it's a small goods depot close to the village, lies at the end of a short spur, and wagons are tripped to the yard from the station area. The yard survived the beaching cuts in the 60s and was still in existence in the 70s, but before the tops numbering period. And this is depicted in O gauge. And again, this is a lovely layout. And I think what I find interesting is how people are managing to fit O gauge into relatively small spaces. In fact, in a little while we'll see a layout smaller than this, and also bigger ones in O gauge. I think O gauge is becoming a little bit more popular. Staying with O gauge, we're now going to Goldhanger. So this layout is based on the Kelvedon and Tollesbury Railway, which was opened in 1904, and provided a much needed means of transporting agricultural produce from the Essex marshes to the Great Eastern Main Line at Kelvedon. So this O gauge layout supposes that the line built from Tiptree to Goldhanger, which is a village on the River Blackwater, the river that I kind of spent my teenage years on, because my parents live kind of out that way as well. Again, this is a very nice layout. It is very East Anglian. You've got the kind of Wisbech and Upwell type coaches depicted here. What I noticed was obviously the points are motorised using servos, and they're very, very loud compared to some of the servos I'm used to. Maybe this is because it's O gauge, or maybe they're just older servos. But this was what I found interesting was the kids seem to be fascinated by O gauge. O gauge probably appeals to children because it's quite big. And it's almost as if it's almost like play train type size as opposed to some of the smaller gauges. And I think it really just shows what O gauge's popularity is. Obviously, this layout is not based on sort of ready to run, but more, kit built O gauge stuff.
It's really good, isn't it?
Time for a bit of double O gauge now, and Kew Bridge is a double O gauge model tramway depicting the area just north of Kew Bridge as it was from about 1902 to 1933. So you've got a mix of London United trams. There is a rail station there in what is now the Museum of Water and Steam, which I think I've been to, funny enough, to a model tram exhibition. I've seen this layout in magazines before, but this is the first time I've seen it in real life. I really do like tramways. They appeal to me. I almost started modelling tramways at one point and did do a small Hong Kong-based tram layout many years ago. I think it's because you've got single cars, tight curves, all of that kind of thing. And again, it's something that you can fit in a small space. And being an urban modeller, I like the idea of trains or trams or whatever running directly through towns and through the streets and all of that kind of thing. So, yeah, it was really nice seeing Kew Bridge in the flesh and watching the trams just pootling around the layout. So double O gauge again. This one is Stockton. What I like about this is the guy that was running it. The layout was built by his daughter when she was 10 years old, and I think it's great that he's now exhibiting it at shows. And it's a fun little shunting puzzle type layout of the type that you quite often see. But I like the way that there's a railway station in there, and also the ability to move wagons around. Up next we have a 009 layout called Scrub Lane and the Malting. So this is kind of a layout of two halves, as you can kind of see from the video, and it looks like they had a traverser originally in between the two, but I think it's now just a single running line. It's kind of set in the 1930s, lots of passenger and freight, and it's just a delightful little layout to look at. Back up to O gauge now. We've got Ripple Road MPD. This was quite a big layout. As you can see here, focused in on the engine shed. Look at the detail in there. I mean, this is one of the things that you can get with O gauge. I mean, I've seen it done in other scales, in smaller scales, but in O gauge, it really lends itself to that kind of level of detail. I just love, the inspection pits being all lit up. What I also liked was the fact that, this is obviously DCC controlled. It's DCC sound and all of that kind of thing. Now, Ripple Road was a real depot. It's a subshed of Stratford, and it was actually one of the first fully dieselised depots in the UK. It's long gone, and the area is there, and you can go train spotting and whatever, but there is no shed. But it's quite nice to see a layout depicting an area that I kind of know. It's near the Ford factory down near Dagenham, I do love a diesel shed, and I do love an Eastern Region diesel shed. I think I am slightly biased though, having grown up in kind of like East London, Essex area. So this is really kind of home turf stuff for me. But again, sadly, you know, not around anymore. But yeah, I mean, I always find these big O gauge diesels really impressive, and they get some great sounds out of them, because even as the small speakers get better and better, you've got room in these things for much bigger speakers, and you get that kind of throaty diesel sound coming through. So it's 1936 on the outskirts of the small town of Durston, and a train arrives at a small station situated on a single line cross-country route southwest of the heart of the Cotswolds. A few passengers alight to cross over to the bay platform where the service to Hemsby waits. A freight bound for Avonmouth slowly passes in the opposite direction. A pannier shunts the goods shed. None of this is real, only existing in double O gauge, and it's a model to celebrate the golden age of the Great Western Railway. The stock is a mixture of scratch built and modified, ready to run. So this is Oakville Road, a little double O gauge layout. I didn't actually get much footage of this one as it was quite busy, but it's a busy little kind of collection of sidings and freight workings. Back to O gauge, and this is Knype Bridge. Now I really like this. This really shows what can be fit into a small space in O gauge. I had a little chat with the owner. So this is a parcel depot situated alongside platform 4 of Knype Bridge station. Now as this bubble car gets out of the way, you'll be able to see just in the distance there are some what look like Mark I coaches, and at first I just thought they were photos, but apparently they are spare sides from some old HO scale Lima Mark I coaches, and he's kind of put them in to kind of make it look like there are platforms further on behind. There are no points on this. He's got like a traverser bridge just under that bridge, so he can swap different tracks and things like that. But I really like this. This is a very kind of 70s 80s kind of feel layout. Very well detailed, lots of clutter, lots of people, and it's a good way of modelling a big station, but only a very, very small part of it. And so, as I said, you know, you can fit quite a lot into a small space. And he was able to keep things running all of the time. There was always something going in or out, whether it be parcels wagons, whether it be the bubble car coming in and out. And I really enjoyed this. It's just standard DC control as far as I can tell. Obviously, if I did it, I'd probably use DCC and sound just to give that added element. But I'm going to leave you just with a little bit more footage of this layout. Now for something completely different, we've got Daconby Town. Now Daconby Town is modelled in 3mm scale. Now this was what was used to be called TT. So back in the 60s, a version of TT, not the true version that we now have, but a version typically British where they mix scales and gauges, was developed using a 3mm scale. And there are some modelers still out there like this gentleman who has built this layout and uses, you know, the old 3mm stock. It's a fictional town located near Lincoln on the Lincolnshire Loop. It's a Great Northern type station. There's a small industrial area and some maltings. As he points out, there's no glamorous trains or locomotives in this part of town. The period is the early 60s and it's long before steam was eradicated. But it's really interesting to see something that, you know, nowadays if somebody said, oh, TT, you're going to be thinking of Hornby's TT 120, but this is the precursor. So this is St Peter's Square. It's a double O gauge layout and it's being built by the Langdon Model Railway Group. It's still a bit of a work in progress. What was funny is I was filming this, one of the guys came over to me and said, oh, are you on YouTube? And I thought, oh, I've got a fan. But it turns out he knows my father-in-law. They go bell ringing together. But anyway, this is a layout obviously set in a very urban area, very much a London feel. You've got Southern Region EMUs at the top. Down below you had the Rapido kind of what's it called, tramway locomotive from East Anglia, and the guys were saying really they're going to be running what they like as long as it's kind of in that kind of period. So it was a bit of an anomaly on there, but actually it just shows how well these locos run. I've never seen one running before, and it was a very smooth runner. So it'll be interesting to see how this layout develops over time. As I said, it's still a work in progress, but what I also liked was that they were able to vary the lighting so that they could go through that kind of day and night cycle. And I do know that my friend Neil from the Little Layout Company is developing something that might be interesting, but watch this space and I will tell you more about that very soon, because that's going to be an upcoming announcement. But yeah, I love this. I also like the fact that they had some interior detail in those shops with the lights and whatever, so it'll be interesting to see how this layout develops. .009 again, this is British Rail, I think it's called Munud I Ddraig. So this is one of the narrow gauge lines that actually got taken over by BR, and there were BR Blue Steam engines and coaches. Only a little bit of footage of this one, very difficult to get close to. Okay, we're coming right up to date now with Fenwick TMD, which is a 00 scale layout. A TMD depot can be commonly seen around the UK, and they have wide ranges of facilities including diesel refuelling, engine servicing, wheel lathe, etc. There's staff welfare buildings. I mean, look at the detail on this. This is jam-packed with bits and pieces. It's controlled by DCC, locos are sound fitted, the buildings are scratch built, and they've detailed the inside, so you've got wheel lathes and the engine shed and all of that kind of thing. There was loads going on here. Now, one of the things that I can see here, that I heard, and you're going to hear it here, is as this class 66 goes away, it has a distinctive whine, and that's the EMD 710 prime mover. And I was standing there with Andy, who is a fellow American railway modeller, and we were both like, yes, a proper diesel sound. We do love the EMD prime movers, and the 710 has a very distinctive whine as the turbocharger kind of kicks in. Yeah, we did get a little bit overexcited about that one, but this is a beautiful layout. I mean, there's just so much going on here that it's really difficult to take it all in, and I could have spent an awful lot more time looking at this layout.
Yeah, and you don't know when the next one. It could be 2.5 hours. Except for Saturday afternoon, you went 2 hours.
Now in EM gauge we have Columbia Wharf, and this is based on the Thomas W. Ward Shipbreakers Yard on the River Thames at Grays in Essex. They scrap ships and other equipment and selling the scrap metal to the county's smelting plants. The Grays Yard was in use from 1919 to 1983 and is now a housing estate. After World War II, Ward scrapped the naval and military equipment, including a Flower class corvette and a German U-boat. Smaller items such as lifeboats, chains, anchors were sold for reuse. So this has been built by the Chelmsford District Model Railway Club, but was converted to EM gauge. Okay, now we've reached the last layout that I filmed at the show, and I think I actually managed to cover all of the layouts this time. So this is the Victory. This is the one that I spoke about. This is the one that it is my favourite layout from the show. This layout is absolutely superb. Now I'm just going to read you the blurb. So, the Victory is a small 00 gauge layout representing a small fictitious Colonel Stevens light railway between Deal and Kingsdown in Kent in the very late 40s, early 1950s, just before closure. The layout name comes from the prominent seaside pub. That's the blurb. Now, this thing isn't big. It's a few feet long, I think about 3, maybe 4 feet long, and then just a single line fiddle yard out the back. It's less than a foot wide. It was set quite high, which caused some comment, but I really liked it because for once I was looking at a layout at eye level as opposed to looking down on the layout, and I think that's sometimes one of the problems when you're at shows, that layouts are set very low. I know that the kids want to see them and stuff like that, and obviously, you know, if you're a little bit short yourself, it is a bit more difficult. But I thought this was very, very well represented. Now, I was talking to, I'm pretty sure his name's Oliver. I said it earlier. I'm pretty sure his name's Oliver. And we'd met before, as I said, at the NMRA show, and we were discussing this. We're also discussing the fact he was using 3-link couplers and how fiddly they are to use. I mean, you know, all of the uncoupling has to be done by hand. But he was doing, as he said, he got better and better at it as the day went on. This did get a lot of attention, and you can see why. I mean, it's just so beautifully modelled. And the fact that you can actually see it from 3 sides, you can see it from, you know, the side that I'm looking at it now, from the other side, and then head on, gives you some really unique perspectives. Now, I showed you a little clip of the layout that Oliver and his brother took to the NMRA convention last year. Talking to him, he's just built another layout, which he's going to a show very soon. I can't remember which show it is. Oliver, if you watch this, put a little comment, so tell people which show you're going to. But it's another Southern Region layout, but it depicts a yard that has overhead catenary, which a lot of people forget that early on, you know, the Southern Region, even under BR, used catenary for some of their freight yards. So things like the Class 70s, they had, you know, pantographs to be able to work freight yards. Anyhow, I am unapologetic about the fact that I put so much footage of this particular layout on the video. It was just excellent. You know, the smooth running that he's got from these locos, all sound fitted, all of them with keeper lives. Someone else like myself who believes keeper lives are very, very important. And you know, it was literally, there's 3 sets of points on this layout. Okay, you know, so it just shows that you do not need a lot to have a layout that you can run interestingly. And you know, he's doing relatively prototypical operations here. You know, this is light railway. With light railways, there was very much a almost anything goes kind of philosophy, because you had mixed freight and passenger trains as depicted here, and you know, lots of hand-me-down equipment. So yeah, really, really enjoyed this layout, and yeah, for me, this was my favourite layout from the exhibition. So I hope to see it again, and I hope to see Oliver's new layout, and I hope to see his French layout again. I think they're all excellent bits of modelling. Okay, that's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. There were some really nice layouts there, and it was great to speak to all of the people that I did. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, and I would like to know why you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free, but what it does is it gives my channel a little bit more coverage on YouTube the more subscribers that I've got. And when you do subscribe, a little bell's going to come up. Click it, press all, and you're going to be notified of all my videos as they come out. Now, as ever, if you have any comments or questions, either post them below or you can send me an email on the email address that is at the bottom of the screen right now. I'm also available on all of these social media sites, so go on, like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is, and you can message me through them as well. Now, in a moment, YouTube is going to suggest a video of mine for you to watch. It's going to come down here somewhere. If you haven't seen it already, go and take a look. If you have seen that one, why don't you go to the channel and take a look at my other videos, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be something there that you will enjoy. But that's it from me. My name's Steve. I'm the British Railroader, and I'm saying goodbye from my model railroad room. Bye-bye.